Alright, real quick, let me just drop some knowledge before we start reviewing BoJack Horseman. So Family Guy is what I would call a one-part comedy. And that's the only part it has. It's a comedy. Is it a good comedy? I won't go there. But anyways, moving on. So Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is now two parts comedy, one part emotion. And you could replace that word drama, realism, nihilism, whatever you want. It's emotion. And I say two parts comedy, not because it's funnier than Family Guy. It is, trust me. But I say that because it's more comedy than it is drama. You could say the same thing about The Office. The comedy is the strongest aspect, and the emotion is slipped in sparingly to add some humanity to the show, and it works. And then you have BoJack Horseman, which is what we're going to talk about today, specifically season 5. And here in season 5, we gotten to the point where we're at two parts comedy, two parts emotion. Now, if you're a mathematician, that's a perfect 1-to-1 ratio. And I'm not saying that it's automatically better than the other shows because there's a good mix of emotion and comedy. I'm saying that it just sets it apart. And I think here in season 5, this coexistence of comedy and emotion is as strong as it's ever been. I mean, they've really upped the ante on both sides of the coin here. And yeah, I mean, we've grown a lot since season 1. Season 1 was like a sitcom-esque type deal that started slipping into the darker stuff near the end, very sparingly. But over time, as these characters have been fleshed out, all of the characters at this point, this show has become a different beast. So let's now talk about how season 5 builds upon these aspects of comedy and emotion and works them into overall an enticing season. So I'm not going to go into like super specific detail, but I'm also not going to like summarize and give you a synopsis of everything. So I'm just going to assume you've seen season 5, but don't worry if you haven't. I'm just going to be kind of like, just going over whatever I really want to hit on. And first, I just want to get my minor complaint out of the way. I thought that there was kind of just like a disconnect between a lot of the characters this season. Like the plot lines weren't as tight as they have been in past seasons. Like the whole Philibert plot line, that's like supposed to be the main plot line. I'd say that a third of the episodes don't even focus on it. And that kind of just shows that there really wasn't like a big story there to start with. It was just kind of BoJack Horseman and seeing how his personal life affects the workplace and how the workplace affects his personal life, which kind of treads water on the Secretariat storyline. But that plot line only went one way. It was his personal life affecting the workplace. Here it goes both ways, which is a little more interesting. But that really only comes out near the end of the season. A lot of the meat of this season, or not a lot of it, but some of it, I'd say a third of it, is kind of just focusing on the characters on their own. And I guess that could be a criticism, but it's also just a testament to how strong all these side characters are at this point. They're not really side characters. They're their own people. And so we can have entire episodes focusing on them, which I think is great. Mr. Peanut Butter's episode where we see him take 4 different dates to the same Halloween party over the years. I thought that was a fantastic episode. It might be my favorite. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that there's kind of just the plot line was very loose, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But it didn't really detract from my enjoyment of the season. It's just a minor complaint. I'm just saying that the plot lines were stronger in past seasons. So that's the overall plot line. But in an episodic nature, a lot of these episodes really stand on their own as just fantastic episodes. I mean, BoJack Horseman has really mastered the art of the gimmick episode. A gimmick episode being like interdimensional cable from Rick and Morty. It's just a different way of structuring a story that's different from the conventional way that an episode is delivered in a series. So that could be done for good, like in Rick and Morty, where it kind of showcases their improv skills. It could be done for bad, like in Friends, where they do like clip shows when they're on like a tight budget. And in BoJack Horseman, it is used to tell a story in a way that they wouldn't be able to if they just did it in a normal episode. And I mean, they've done it in past seasons, but they're really on the top of the game here. I mean, one of these episodes, I think it's called Free Churro, It's just BoJack Horseman monologuing at his mother's funeral for 25 minutes, and it is like riveting television because it's just. I mean, I think Will Arnett should get something for that. I mean, really, it's and once again, it's this balance of emotion and comedy. I mean, some of the time he's treating his mom's funeral like it's a stand up comedy session, and other times you see him kind of digging into his own past with his mother, and trying to make some meaning out of it, because his mom died. He's trying to make sense of it all, and to see that balance, it works so well. It's just amazing. And then to see the final punchline, probably one of the funniest punchlines in the entire show, those like last 10 seconds, which I won't spoil for you, but it's fantastic. And like I said before, all the other characters get their own episodes, except for Todd, who's just once again there for comic relief. And once again, let me just go on tangent real quick. Todd has some of the funniest stuff in this season. He's once again just the comic relief. Not that doesn't have any depth, but he just brings so much like outlandish stuff to this show. And the outlandish comedy on this show is just done so well in the sense that in a world with like all these animals talking and stuff, it still seems realistic because these characters are treated as people. So we automatically relate to them no matter how outlandish the plot gets, which is great. But once again, yeah, Todd has the funniest stuff in this season. Not that the other plot lines aren't funny, but obviously they knew that they needed like comic relief throughout this season because it does get more emotional and like BoJack's storyline and stuff. He's just the perfect balance for it as always. But as I was saying, yeah, no character is left untouched. No character is left behind in this like sort of dissection. And one thing I noticed is this digging up of the past, and like in everyone's plotline, the past kind of comes back to haunt them. Like in Princess Carolyn's episode, we get to see how she got to where she is. We got to see her sort of childhood, which is interesting. And once again, with Mr. Peanut Butter's episode, which was another great gimmick episode, we see his past relationships, and we sort of finally understand the pitfalls to his character. And so yeah, I like when the characters are actually on their own. I know I said it was a criticism, but I also said it was a testament to how strong they are. And then once the characters are all together, it's kind of just lazily written into the story that they all end up in the same place conveniently, because otherwise it'll be really disconnected. But, with that out of the way, it is a really excellent season of television. And so I haven't touched upon the man himself, BoJack Horseman. His plotline is technically the main plotline, but they really do jump around a lot this season. I was surprised on how there wasn't really. I mean, there was a lot of focus on BoJack Horseman, but not as much as in past seasons. But anyway, the focus that we do get on him is very interesting to see, especially in the last few episodes. You'll see that once again, we see him sort of fall apart in a way as he's taken painkillers from his injury and he gets addicted to them. And it all kind of climaxes once again in the penultimate episode, not the final episode, the second to last episode. Like all good television shows, they put the climax in the second to last episode. And that stands true here. Another great kind of culmination of all these emotions building up in BoJack. We get to see the outcome of that, and it's once again dark. That's all I'll say. So, in conclusion, we've had another great season of BoJack. I'll put up real quick. These are my favorite episodes of the season. You'll notice that most of them are the gimmick episodes, because I think that's really where they shine this season. But the plotline itself was good. And all this for me kind of rounds out to an 8.5 out of 10 for Season 5 of BoJack Horseman. So, yep, that concludes this review. If you disagree with me, agree with me, put it in the comments. I openly invite your opinion. And if you want me to review anything in the future, I will consider it. And if you want to, you can subscribe so that you will be there for my Better Call Saul Season 4 review. And whatever I put out before that and after that, I'm just singling that out because that's all I have lined up for now, but we'll see.